Talking about catastrophe in Gorongosa National Park, when Gorongosa Restoration started in the park, the major catastrophe was that more than 90% of fauna population was completely destroyed. And the major objective of the restoration in the park is that centered in two areas. One, about conservation of biodiversity. In general, we used to say that conservation of a Gorongosa ecosystem. And the second part of our objective, which is also the epicenter of conservation, is human development. That's why you will realize that our budget goes mainly, more than 60% of our budget goes to communities, is whereby you can even recognize that is one of our objectives. Regarding to major results up to now, I can consider in 7 areas. In terms of conservation of biodiversity, you will see that we have been able to reintroduce some species which were no longer existing in Gorongosa. I can name some. Wild dogs is one of the examples. We did not have wild dogs when the restoration project started, but now we are almost 200 wild dogs in the park. Hyenas, we lost during the civil war almost 100% of hyenas. Now we have done the recently reintroduction of hyenas. Buffaloes, we did a reintroduction of some numbers, but again is restoration of wild animals. Wildebeest, in general, I can say that animal population, some species have been reintroduced, and that is a very, very important area to underline, as a result in terms of conservation of biodiversity. In addition to that, we have been able to, with the government of Mozambique, from 2010, Mount Gorongosa has been proclaimed as a part of the park. Above 700 meters of sea level up to peak of Mount Gorongosa is now part of the park. That is a very good achievement because forestry degradation was very, very serious on Mount Gorongosa. Talking in terms of human development, we have been able to employ more than 1,000 people in Gorongosa. That is a very achievable number in terms of employment. Another achievement in terms of infrastructures, we have been able to build a range outpost, which is very nice, as well as some of facilities in the park. We did not have accommodation to park employees. In terms of human development was somehow very good. Let me finish in terms of human development, talk about some activities for income generation projects. We've been able to build coffee factory, which was not there, honey processing house. We are very happy that we have those, some of achievement. In terms of accessibility, we were able to build several roads, which is very fortunate. Finally, tourism. We were able to elevate the level of tourism in the park. We had obstacles on the process. One of the obstacles was poaching. During restoration project, we have at certain point the challenge in terms of poaching, but now is very down. No elephant poach in the last 5 years, but we recognize that that was one of the obstacles. The second obstacle was regarding to conflict in the region. As you know, that this area was epicenter in terms of conflict, political conflict, but now, very fortunately, that we are in peace. The third part, which we also recognize, is that we had several cyclones passing by. One of them was Idai, and that was very severe. We suffered on that type of obstacle. And finally, one of the obstacles which we have faced is about poverty. Our communities related to poverty is education level. We feel that poverty was one of the obstacles pushing our communities to elevate their economical level. In terms of achievement, science influence to our park in the following areas. Let me start by saying that we make decisions based in science. Growing our agriculture, conservation agriculture, we based in science. To monitor our animals, we are based in animal, talking about collaring animals to monitor where are they in their population growth. Everything what we do, we are based in science. Another achievement which science have brought to us is to introduce a master degree in conservation, in biology, conservation biology, in conjunction with 4 universities, which is a very, very high achievement, improving science, not only in the park, but also in terms of country level. We are contributing a lot from science in the park. E.O. Wilson is one of the scientists world known, and this biologist have contributed a lot to Gorongosa National Park. If you take in consideration that he, after he visited the park, he proclaimed Gorongosa National Park as the most biodiversity area in the world. And that type of information gave a very powerful recognition, not only on Gorongosa, but also in Mozambique, as well as in all protected areas. That why was named the E.O. Wilson Laboratory on the name of E.O. Wilson, was that in recognition to the level of science that E.O. Wilson have developed in this park and his influential part in the conservation area. The science role of that laboratory is that is a part where the majority of scientists in the world, they come and they realize their activities. We have there the 5 areas: botanical site, zoological site, environmental lab, and paleontological site. In the country, they've got the value to make sure that all schools, from primary schools up to university degrees, is where we can do our laboratory analysis and to be as a key factor to develop science in Mozambique as well as in the world.
In Gorongosa National Park, we apply a conservation model of balancing the needs of wildlife and people, this way to protect and develop the local communities. Our idea is to be able to leverage that both flora and fauna and the people are benefiting from this. Our idea to have this integrated model that goes side by side to make sure that everyone is thriving in a happy ecosystem. For the success of the Gorongosa Restoration Project, we had to include and engage the local community. And how did we do that? To make sure that they have economic benefits. We also had to make sure that we train the people that are working here. The idea of empowering people through education and making sure that they then are able to ensure sustainability and economic benefits out of the project that we're doing. So the idea of making sure that people are first trained and that they then are able to have alternative economic activities and livelihoods to make sure that there is success in the future, because we cannot talk about conservation if people are hungry, if people don't have an income generating activity to make sure that they feed themselves, that they then are able to educate their children and have a bigger development model. In the Gorongosa Restoration Project, we have been able to engage the people through different pillars. And the three pillars that we focus under our human development department is education, health, and community relations. And in these three pillars, we have been able to focus on both formal education, where we work with teachers, for example, where we work in building resilient infrastructure to make sure that the teaching and learning environment is improved for the children. But we also focused on extracurriculum activities, where we have clubs such as the girls' clubs, eco clubs, Gorongosa clubs, which focus on children with special needs. And so the idea of making sure that there is education for the children as well as adults. So we also provide adult literacy. And then we go on the health. On the health, we also build resilient infrastructure. So we have built different clinics around the buffer zone, as well as training community health workers that are ensuring that even people that are very far away are able to have first-hand assistance from people that are around that area. But if they need to, then they also are sent to different mobile brigades that we, together with the government of Mozambique, are providing in these remote areas. And then we also have this third pillar, which we focus on community relations, where we have been able to create what we call community conservancy areas, where the community is the one who's then managing these different committees, where they're managing their own natural resources to gain and to have different activities that generate income for these communities, and they have the ownership of leading these different activities. So for us, it's very, very important to have such impact where the communities are leading these different activities and they are being able to understand the benefits they gain from protecting this ecosystem that is their own. So for us, the success of Gorongosa has been through what we initially started working on, which is the restoration of the Gorongosa National Park. We've been able to recover almost 100% of what used to be the biomass of the park. So we did reintroduction of some animals, and then we focused on the community work. Where we've been able to work with the communities to make sure that the basic needs are provided for, as well as that they're benefiting from the different alternative livelihoods that we are helping provide for the communities. On the other hand, we have been able to also show the world how this type of conservation model can be applied and how it successfully can be put across. And we've had a lot of different projects coming to Gorongosa to trying and find out how we are doing this and how they can apply in their different projects. Gorongosa has been working towards the science side of it, the conservation side of it, putting it together to make sure that we are then sending the message across that it's possible that we have this concept of One Health, where all the parts of the ecosystem are working together for a better future for everyone. In the science department, for example, we're working a lot in the training of young scientists, Mozambicans, of local people. We've also focused on the education side, on the human development. We've worked alongside tourism, alongside the different value chains in the area of Gorongosa. And so to be able to put all of these pieces together in an integrated way has provided us to make sure there is success and that we are telling the story that people can then apply and adapt to their own ecosystems. Looking ahead for the future of Gorongosa, I think one of the biggest challenges we still see is the human-wildlife conflict, which we now are trying to change the terminology into coexistence. So coexistence of us humans and the wildlife. In the park, we don't have fences that divide the buffer zone and the park. And so sometimes the animals are able to move across to the communities. So being able to create this landscape where we are able to coexist with the animals is one of the things that we are trying to work with. We've been able to work with different strategies that we learned from different countries, such as the beehive fences. We are also doing some fences of creosote and chili peppers. We have been able to create another strategy to make sure that elephants don't go across to the communities to eat their crops. So trying out different strategies is something that we are working on and hoping to have better ways to coexist with the animals. On the other hand, we are very hopeful in working in nature-based solutions to make sure that then we are able to work with the communities, to work in the different value chains around the different livelihood activities that we're doing, such as the coffee, such as the ecotourism, that will make sure economic benefits and development to the communities so that we are then thriving in a protected ecosystem and developed communities. For us, winning this award has been very important. This recognition, not only in Mozambique, not only in Africa, but across the world, for people to see and to be able to show that it's possible to do conservation this way. It's been very, very great for us to together celebrate one of the very good things we are doing here in the park, which is making sure we have a complete ecosystem where we have everyone thriving and a protected area, as well as being recognized by this prestigious award is providing us more energy, more motivation to what we do, and also showcase the world what conservation can do, what letting nature thrive, letting the ecosystems restore itself can also help us benefit in different ways by providing development to the communities, by making sure our children are able to see these animals in 10, 50 years to come, because we are doing something now, because we are doing something today and together. So ensuring sustainability and ensuring that we have partners, because we cannot do all of this by ourselves. So we're very thankful for the partners that are also working with us, that are making sure that now we are not more so focused only on the conservation on the legal side, because people are now aware, people are now understanding the importance of having this protected. People are now also engaging and making sure that all the benefits that are coming from conserving this beautiful landscape are going back to them. And so that's why we are spending most of our budget outside of the park nowadays. It's because of this integrated way that we are taking it, the approach that we take into conservation, that ensures that we then are able to have this thriving Gorongosa that is ours. Gorongosa is now being seen as a place of hope because we are using a lot of what is happening here to the benefit of the people. Only the people that are living on the buffer zone are the ones that can be the stewards to make sure that this is protected. And so by engaging and working directly with them is the way forward. And so we are using education as one of the biggest tools to empower people, to make sure people then have the leverage to continue all that we're doing. So in this dual conservation model, where we protect biodiversity alongside human development, we are able to provide better conditions for the community as well as for the animals. We are happy to bring hope both to the animal and to the people and ensure that this can be seen all over the world and that it can be replicated to make sure that we have a brighter future for everyone.